This is the Jerry Hicks Show, your home for common sense content 5 nights a week, right here on the Censored Freedom Network. Now here is your host, Jerry Hicks.
Thank you, Dave, and thank you so much, everybody, for being here once again on this wonderful Thursday evening. It is Thursday, February the 20th, 2025, and we have yet another amazing show and a lot of information to go over. Ladies and gentlemen, good news we're going to start out with, but first, quick shout out to everybody over on BitChute, Rumble, YouTube, X, and all of those who may find this show coming over from TikTok. We have had quite a turnout across all the platforms, folks. I really, really appreciate you guys. We are also part of the Censored Freedom Network. Make sure you check that out also over on the X platform, Censored Freedom Network. That's right, folks. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, we have a ton of news to get into tonight. And as I said a moment ago, we're going to start out with some good news. Let's jump on over here to the news rack and see what we have waiting for us. Starting out with FBI nominee Kash Patel is officially confirmed as the head of the FBI, ladies and gentlemen. This is huge, folks. This is gargantuan. I was so ecstatic when I woke up today and seen this headline, because this is what we need, folks. We need a FBI that is not weaponized against the American people, that is not weaponized against another party, that is actually out here to do the job that it was instructed to do. And also, we're going to be finding out a lot of information that has been hidden from the American people. Folks, I couldn't be happier about this. Apparently, a lot of leftists are not too happy about this, and I see why. And if you were on the Epstein list or on the Diddy list, you probably would be quite scared right now, because I am absolutely positive now that we're going to get both of those, folks. Not a doubt in my mind about it. And I'm positive that we're going to get whatever the FBI knows about UAPs and UFOs, which is most likely a lot. Remember, the X-Files was actually based on true stories from the FBI. So yeah, we're going to get a lot of information coming from the FBI. Huge news today, folks. Great way to start the day. This is hashtag MAGA winning right here. Next up, where we usually start the day, our daily DOGE report. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start out with a small bit from SecDef. Lord help me, I forgot the man's name already. But from our SecDef.
First is DOGE. They're here and we're welcoming them. In fact, right over there, about 20 minutes ago, I just met with them. And we're going to be incorporating into what we're doing at DOD, everything they're doing to find fraud, waste, and abuse, in the largest discretionary budget in the federal government. They're going to have broad access. Obviously, with all the safeguards on classification, they know that. Many of them are vets. They care just like we do. To find the redundancies and identify the last vestiges of Biden priorities, the DEI, the woke, the climate change BS, that's not core to our mission, and we're going to get rid of it all.
I cannot tell you how happy I am about that. Let's hear what else he's got to say about DOGE.
With DOGE, we're focusing as much as we can on headquarters and fat and redundancies and top-line stuff that allows us to reinvest elsewhere. We welcome DOGE, and finding those efficiencies is how we save taxpayer dollars.
And I, like I said, could not be more ecstatic about that. I'm trying to remember this guy's name in...
You, the American people, work...
I was hoping it would tell me, is it, Lord help me, I know there's been so many, I've forgot this guy's
Greetings
name.
once again from the...
Here, we'll look it up. I know I should know this information, and I really should. Hegseth, Pete Hegseth, there we go. Lord help me, folks, there's been so many nominations and clarifications and people coming in and out lately in these different departments. I can't remember who's where 3/4 of the time. So there we go, folks. A quick update from
Greetings.
Pete Hegseth on the DOGE situation. Now, this is gargantuan to me, ladies and gentlemen. And I'll tell you why this is absolutely huge to me, that the Secretary of Defense is allowing DOGE to basically rummage through everything there. Because the Department of Defense are the main ones that are hiding a lot of the technologies that are being suppressed from the American people. And yes, there are a ton of technologies that are being suppressed from the American people. It's no miscalculation to say that the U.S. government's technology is easily a decade plus ahead of ours, if not more. I've even heard by some that it's a millennia ahead of our current technology. And now with people not going to be paid bribes and whistleblow money or hush money or in all these different things, well, now we're going to see a lot of this information become public knowledge. And it needs to. This is information that the American people has paid for. Think of all the different things that the Department of Defense has worked on over the years. Now, yes, I understand there are certain things the Department of Defense cannot tell us. I get that, 100%. National security, all that, got it. I don't want our enemies knowing things that they should know that could help them defeat us. Like, I'm 100% on that. But I do want to know what we have reverse engineered. Is there ways that we can fix our energy crisis or energy issues with something more than oil, right? Is there technologies that are hidden from us because they're actually good for the American people? And I have a feeling, call it a hunch, that we're going to start to hear about this more and more as DOGE goes through and starts unlocking different things. So there we go. Huge story there. Ladies and gentlemen, second part of our DOGE report. Live update from the USDA meeting tonight. It says, look what we found and just canceled. Yeah, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. When we play the cancel game, we do it the good way, right? We don't cancel people. We cancel debts that we shouldn't be paying. Look what we just found. It says $324,671 grant for increasing DEI programming for integrated pest management. Yeah. It's as stupid as it sounds, ladies and gentlemen. So here, let's put this another way. Integrating racism programming for integrated pest control. Because that's all DEI is, racism. That's it. That's all of these, any of these extra inclusion things are. You should be hired based on your merit, if you're good at the job or not. That's it. Full stop in the story. Period. Period. And if you're not good for the job, get better or do something else. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, our report last night on the schools spending the COVID relief funds, the one that I thought was actually going to get us kicked off of half the platforms, actually took off right before I hit the record button here over on TikTok. I had a little 20-some-odd seconds short of that report, and I'll be darned if it did not skyrocket a couple minutes ago, so I'm really happy about that, folks. If you want to join us over on TikTok, it is the Jerry Hicks Show. So that was our DOGE report for the day, folks. Again, when we cancel, we do it the right way. Canceling the IRS, for instance. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick dropped a bombshell today, folks. The Trump administration plans to abolish the IRS. We had heard about this. We've heard Trump talk about this. But ladies and gentlemen, the IRS is being abolished. The nest of the leftist bureaucrats squeezing decent Americans dry. Donald Trump, the champion of freedom, wants to rip out the Internal Revenue Service and replace it with a tariff-based system that makes foreigners pay for our greatness. That's what I'm talking about. Trump is pushing to create an external revenue service to collect funds from foreign competitors while firing thousands of IRS leeches. Folks, income tax after this year, you will have to pay this year. We're still in the fiscal run. But after this, there may be no more income tax. Period. State income tax is a whole nother story. But taxation is theft. Period. Yes, it's in the Constitution. Yes, it needs to be taken back out of the Constitution. It was supposed to be completely and absolutely temporary to finish paying for a war, not to bleed the American taxpayer dry at every corner. But that's what it's become, and especially more so under Biden. Again, think of how much your money is taxed. It's taxed before it's given to you. It's taxed when you use it. It's taxed if you hold it. It's taxed if you die. And they're trying to tax you for breathing. Right? It's taxed with every single thing you buy. It's taxed differently on gas than it is regular items, right? If you want something like cigarettes, that's taxed even more differently. And then when they have the money that they pay taxes on, when they use it, they get taxed again. Taxes are eating us alive, ladies and gentlemen. This isn't a new story. Ancient Rome, all of the big ones, still had the same issue. The Bible, they hated tax collectors in the Bible. This has been an issue for a long time, but America wasn't supposed to have tax collectors. Not like that. Well, it pays for everything. We can find different ways to pay for it, folks. If you're that worried about it, offer your money instead of having it taken, because I'm not going to. Right? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But I know that I would be absolutely ecstatic to see the IRS close. This has been a burden on the American people for way too long. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a, what is this here? A question about, well, let's just listen to it.
So, Mr. Hassett, you were speaking about tariff revenue, and you also addressed a question about the
Oh, yes, about the tariff revenue that will replace the IRS. I knew there's a reason I had this story here.
IRS. President Trump has spoken about replacing income tax with tariff revenue, especially with all this waste, fraud, and abuse that we're seeing cut. Is that a possibility?
Absolutely. And in fact, if you think about the China tariff revenue that we're estimating is coming in from the 10% that we just added, plus the de minimis thing, that it's between $500 billion and $1 trillion over 10 years is our estimate. And that's something that is outside of the reductions that markets are seeing through the negotiations up on the Hill. And so we expect that the tariff revenue is actually going to make it much easier for Republicans to pass a bill, and that was the president's plan all along. Thank you.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to have tariffs paying for everything, not the American taxpayer that's being taxed, our money stolen, and then put into things that we had no issue or no vote on, no ability to know what was actually going on, no transparency, stuff that the American people would have never, ever paid for. And ladies and gentlemen, let's listen to Stephen Miller give the left a civics lesson.
You spoke about DOGE. You said roughly $50 billion is set to be cut in a year of waste, fraud, and abuse by unelected bureaucrats.
And we'll talk about refunds here in a minute.
Hearing this ironic narrative from the president's critics and the left-wing media that Elon Musk is an unelected bureaucrat and he's doing all this terrible stuff. Isn't one of DOGE's objectives to get rid of the federal...
He's got something in the wings. He's about to tell them exactly how government works. Look at that face. Oh, this is going to be good. I don't know about you guys, but I'm sick of hearing this Elon's unelected crap myself.
Bureaucracy, the deep state, and also who was running the White House when Joe Biden was in office, because I don't know a single person who believes it was Joe Biden.
You're tempting me to say some very harsh things about some of our media friends.
I will. If you won't, I will. The most of the media is the mocking stream media. Again, can we get that hashtagging? Can we get that trending, mocking stream media? Because that's all they are. They are under Project Mockingbird. They're doing nothing but propaganda and lies 9 times out of 10. And clearly that's what they did when the Biden administration, when they completely denied anything was wrong with Biden. He's mentally fit. He's good to go. The man couldn't find his way outside of a paper bag. He fell off a bicycle while it was standing. We're not the same.
Yes, it is true that many of the people in this room for 4 years failed to cover the fact that Joe Biden was mentally incompetent and was not running the country. It is also true that many people in this room who have used this talking point that Elon is not elected fail to understand how government works.
Yeah, they're only mad because it's Elon. Any other time, they wouldn't care about a single bureaucrat. You and I both know it.
So I'm glad for the opportunity for a brief civics lesson. A president is elected by the whole American people. He's the only official in the entire government that is elected by the entire nation, right? Judges are appointed, members of Congress are elected at the district or state level, just one man. And the Constitution, Article 2, has a clause known as the vesting clause, and it says the executive power shall be vested in a president, singular. The whole will of democracy is imbued into the elected president. That president then appoints staff to then impose that democratic will onto the government. The threat to democracy, indeed the existential threat to democracy, is the unelected bureaucracy of lifetime tenured civil servants who believe they answer to no one, who believe they can do whatever they want without consequence, who believe they can set their own agenda no matter what Americans
Dr. Anthony Fauci, for instance?
vote for. So Americans vote for radical FBI reform, and FBI agents say they don't want to change. Or Americans vote for radical reform on our energy policies, but EPA bureaucrats say they don't want to change. Or Americans vote to end DEI, racist DEI policies, and lawyers of the Department of Justice say they don't want to change. What President Trump is doing is he is removing federal bureaucrats who are defying democracy by failing to implement his lawful orders, which are the will of the whole American people. Thank you.
Exactly. And this is something that aggravates me so very badly. When people think they know better than what the American people asked for. Yes, I voted for this. Yes, I'm happy with this. As a matter of fact, not only am I happy with what we've got, I'm giddy at what we've got already. I'm extremely ecstatic with what Elon and Trump are doing. This is what the American people wanted. And I will repeat this every night if I have to. Anybody who is yelling against DOGE, cutting fraud, waste, and abuse in our government is on the take. They're part of the ones abusing, using, and frauding our government. Period. Other ones, you and me, normal people that aren't politicians screaming about this, are useful idiots. They're repeating a mainstream media, mocking stream media point of view. Because that's all they know to do. That's all they're being told in the mocking stream media, the propagandic media. I don't know how they take these people seriously anymore. I really don't. Now, Trump talked about a refund, ladies and gentlemen. And I was discussing on X, on a post, whether or not it would be a good idea to give the American people a refund. And what I mean by that, I would love to have a bunch of money in my pocket. But you know what would make that special and actually mean something? If I didn't have the same exact amount of money in my pocket that everybody else did. If we all get $1,000, $2,000 checks, how would that affect the economy? Now, here's the difference between these and the stimulus money. This would be money coming out of money we've already paid into our government. It's already created. It's already in circulation, so they don't have to print more. So it might not be bad on inflation, right? But if everybody has more money, everything will cost more. Now, it would help to offset the price from the tariffs that are going to go into place because things are going to be more expensive if you buy stuff from another country. That's the way it's going to be, the way it should be, in my opinion. If you buy Chinese made, you should pay more for Chinese made than American made. And if we don't have it made in America, well, then we need to start making it here. But I don't know about the refunds, whether they'd be a good idea or not. Again, I don't mind having money in my pocket. I'm not going to complain about it. I'd love to have some extra money to live on. Absolutely. And if it wouldn't hurt the economy, then I'd be 100% okay with it. What they want to do is give 20% of DOGE's savings back to the American people, which, hey, that's money that was wasted that we weren't going to see anyway. So, yeah, again, I'm happy to have it back. I just don't want to have it in our pockets or back in the economy if it's going to send the economy in a negative way. If we're going to have higher inflation, if everything's going to go up in price, if there's if there's going to be negatives to it, I'm not sure I want it, right? If we could use it better to pay off debt or get our government running better instead of being in Americans' pockets, cool. Now, if it would stimulate the economy, because once again, this is money that's already printed and not more printing, cool. I think that's an amazing idea. But I'm not an economist. And if you guys are, I want to hear from you. What do you guys think? Should we have a refund from the DOGE money? And if so, how much? Because, again, too much could hurt the economy. Let me know what you guys think. Next story coming up, ladies and gentlemen. I'm getting good at this transitioning now. Infamous Dr. Deborah Birx makes 2 shocking COVID admissions. Once again, the conspiracy theorists were right, as we were talking about last night, folks. We're running out of conspiracy theories. I'm a conspiracy theorist. I'll admit it. Do you know what a conspiracy is? 2 people working together secretly on something. If you and I are planning a birthday party for our friend, we're conspiring. If our friend thinks we're planning a birthday party for them but don't know, they're conspiracy theorists. Congratulations. That's all it means. That's it. And 9 times out of 10, the conspiracy theorist is right. I can point to so many times in the last 5 years where we have been proven right over and over and over and over and over. At this point, Alex Jones is looking more like a prophet. Yeah, I said it. The narrative surrounding COVID crisis is crumbling, and now Dr. Deborah Birx is admitting what the conspiracy theorists knew all along, probably trying to save her own skin. It turns out early treatment saves lives. We've said it for a while. Birx literally echoed what dissident doctors had been saying from day one. Again, early treatment saves lives. Instead of listening, they silenced these doctors, threatening to take away their license and let people die. And now they're coming out and admitting, as if they had said it all along, that would have worked. The messenger RNA should have been rolled out for the people who were at risk of severe disease, because that's what vaccine was developed for, which is bullshit. Absolute bullshit. She also confessed the shot was never designed to prevent infection. This is not what the COVID vaccine was designed to do. It wasn't designed against infection. That's not what we were told for years. Remember Protect Grandma? That's one reason I lost my job and gave up everything. Yeah, I had the silver spoon. I've said it a number of times. And I gave it all up because I refused to get that sticker. Wasn't going to do it. Ain't doing it. Ladies and gentlemen, some of us knew from the beginning this was a horrible idea, that this was nothing more than a trick, a way to get people to become guinea pigs of their own volition. I said it last night and I'll say it again tonight. Nobody who's ever taken one of these stickers, has ever done it legally. Everybody who's ever given one of these stickers has done it illegally. Because you have to have implied consent. Implied consent is the information about the sticker. The short effects, the long effects. What can happen if you have this sticker? And ladies and gentlemen, that's not what has happened. We don't have this information. Unless somebody time travels, it is impossible to have this information right now because it hasn't had enough time to get this information. Nobody has ever taken one of these stickers with implied consent. Period. Full stop. We didn't even know about it. We're just now finding out about stuff we should have already known. But the conspiracy theorists have been screaming for years. Really? Just blows my mind. Federal health agencies ordered to restore public-facing web pages in relation to trans individuals. The executive order on gender ideology stated a new federal policy that would only recognize 2 sexes, male and female, because that is all there is. There is male and there is female. And if that offends you, good. I don't care. You're an idiot. Sorry, it is what it is. After the president issued the order, federal health agencies were required to remove all websites and public-facing media that promote gender ideology. Ladies and gentlemen, do you know what tore Russia apart during the revolution? Gender ideology. This wokeism, garbage, nonsense is what helped to tear Russia apart during the Bolshevik Revolution. And the left was trying that here, ladies and gentlemen. Do not think for a second that any of this was organic. None of it was organic. When you have a government pushing the ideology, that is not organic growth. That is mandatory forced things, forced growth. That is creating a trend that should not exist. And now that we've got fired up, ladies and gentlemen, our next report comes from Hello America's Up. And this report right here, we reported the other day, folks, on a little girl, I want to say it was a 12-year-old girl, who needed a heart transplant, who was denied because they refused to take the COVID sticker. Well, a day or two later, this was sent to me from My Life DIY. By the way, I really like this guy over here on TikTok, Hello America's Up. If you are over there, go check him out. But here's a report from him, and this should make your blood boil. It made mine boil.
Ohio veteran denied a heart transplant at a hospital. So a 54-year-old veteran, Ken...
It pisses me off, number one, this is a veteran that this is happening to.
Long claims that he was denied a heart transplant at Christ Hospital in Cincinnati, Ohio, because he didn't get before the transplant. He was
The
diagnosed
COVID sticker, if you're wondering.
with heart failure about a year ago and was informed he needed a heart transplant. All the tests came back that said other than his heart, he was very healthy. Yet the Christ Hospital in Cincinnati denied him this, and he's a veteran, by the way, because he didn't get the
Sticker.
back in the day. Now, the Christ Hospital Network is doubling down and defending this decision, saying he will not receive the heart transplant unless he gets that. And then on top of that, even if he does, he has to wait a while. So he's in failing health because of congestive heart failure.
My
But
father had congestive heart failure and was a veteran, by the way. So this could have just as easily been my father, lest he still be alive today.
we have to stop and get the jab, and then we have to wait a little while, then we can do it if someone's not a total dickhead at this hospital. So the hospital told him, quote, he was too sick and he wouldn't live without the heart transplant. At the same time, we won't give you the heart transplant unless you get this, and we're going to defend our decision knowing it will kill you if you don't comply with us. Now, there is no religious exemption, even though it's his choice because of his religious beliefs.
Now, this is against everything we stand for in this country. A religious exemption must be acknowledged. This hospital right here does not deserve to do business anymore.
But the hospital says, fuck your religious beliefs, do as we say or we'll let you die. So here's a picture of the veteran that's going to die if he doesn't comply with the hospital's Nazi-like approach. And here's him in the hospital where he almost died, being told he needed a heart transplant. But guess what? You didn't get that jab, so we're...
This, ladies and gentlemen, this right here pisses me off to no end. I went off the other day about the 12-year-old, and that pissed me off too. But now you have a veteran, a person who has served this country with honor and dignity and pride, a person who would have laid their life down for you. Yet the hospital has decided because he wouldn't take the COVID sticker, just like the little girl the other day, that they can refuse service to this man, refuse to let him live. Number one, this is against the Hippocratic Oath, thou shalt do no harm. Right? I don't know how these people convince themselves that they're not doing harm by denying a heart transplant because they refuse to accept a religious exemption? Somebody needs to get this information to RFK Jr. This is 2 cases now in a row. We need to look into these hospitals and who's running these hospitals, get rid of these bullshit vaccination policies, and start helping people. I lost my best friend because the doctors refused to do their job during that time. So no, I have no remorse for any of the doctors, for anybody who broke the Nuremberg Convention or broke the law or their oath during those times, and still to this day. The fact that a person chose, as is their right, to not get a sticker gives the hospital no right whatsoever to deny service to this man, to deny to give him a heart transplant, and then want to stick him with something that would probably end him any damn way. Because that's what we're finding out in the short and long of this sticker, ladies and gentlemen. The stuff we didn't know, the experiment, because that's what this is, an experiment. That's all the sticker is an experiment that you can either be a part of or not. But to force someone to be a part of an experiment, the Nazis did that, ladies and gentlemen. The Nuremberg Code was created for a reason. This man was a veteran who served this country. He is in his time of need, and this country has said, screw you, and I am pissed. Any hospital that enacts policies like this needs to be shut down on the spot. They no longer deserve to do business. Period. Full stop. You're here to help people. They have forgotten what their job is. The Hippocratic Oath does not say help them if they have a jab. Help them if they qualify under this, that, and the other. It doesn't. It doesn't say if they have this insurance, treat them like this, and if they don't, treat them like that. It don't say that. These people need to pay for what they're doing. And anybody who is no longer with us because of these doctors, because of these nurses, because of these stupid, ignorant policies, they need to do time under a prison. We need retribution. We need accountability in this country. Because apparently, you do something like this and you just get a little bit of public outcry and nothing actually happens to you. I don't want violence. I'm not calling for violence, ladies and gentlemen. I want these people in court. I want these people before the American people. I want these people to understand and know what they have done. I want retribution to be doled out to them for what they've done in the legal justice system. But ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake. If you're a doctor, if you are a nurse, and you are following these policies, you don't deserve to practice what you're practicing or own the license that you own, and you need to have it stripped from you. If you would rather choose to force somebody to do something against their will, or against their religious belief, or against their own rights, or refuse them life-saving medical treatment, you're not a doctor, you're a fucking actor with a doctor's coat. That's all you've become. Yes, this fires me up, ladies and gentlemen. This pisses me off to no end. Can we please put a new law into place that lifts the statute of limitations on some of these things? For companies that wrongly fired employees over this. For doctors who let people die because of this. Because I got 2 lawsuits between those two that I really want to file. For doctors who are still allowing people to die because they refuse to do their damn job. Because their patient won't pay Big Pharma, basically. Won't become a Big Pharma lab rat. Pharma has taken over our hospital system, folks, and we need to do something about it. This has gotten way too far and has gotten way too serious. A veteran is about to no longer be here because the doctors refuse to do their job. It's not his fault. It's his right. It's the fault of the medical system in this country. RFK needs to fix this, and he needs to do it quick. And any doctor that's doing this needs to be strung up on charges immediately. Period. Jasmine Crockett, who's got about as many brain cells as AOC, which has got about as many brain cells as, I don't know, a lighter. I don't know, a lighter's probably brighter than she is.
He right now has a 53% approval rating. It's higher than it's ever been. 70% believe that he's fulfilling his promises.
Hey, what do you know? Most of the country's behind Trump.
And 45% believe Democrats should be more moderate. What do you take away? I think there's a lot to make of those numbers. What's your takeaway from that?
My takeaway is just like the election. We've got to do better at education. People don't understand. But you will understand when those hospitals in rural America start closing down.
I hope the hospitals in rural America, if they're practicing what we just talked about, get closed down.
Even more. You will understand when you don't have your Social Security. You will understand when your Medicaid, your Medicare goes away. You will understand as planes continue to fall out of the sky.
That almost sounded like a threat, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, why would she bring that up? Maybe it's a Democrat talking point, but it sounds like they're behind it when they say stuff like that. I'm just saying.
More. You will understand when you don't have your Social Security. You will understand when your Medicaid, your Medicare goes away. You will understand as planes continue to fall out of the sky. Soon you will understand why it's important to maybe have somebody that isn't loud and ridiculous, and maybe Sleepy Joe is what we wanted because we could at least sleep at night.
I don't know how anybody was able to sleep at night knowing that their livelihood was up for grabs in every second of their day under Sleepy Joe, right? This country wouldn't have survived another 4 years, but she just said better education. Ladies and gentlemen, she said you're stupid. That 70% that voted for Trump, the 40% that said Democrats are way too far to the left. Well, one of these people that's way, way too far to the left, racist Jasmine Crockett, has decided that you're stupid. We need better education because, you know, Biden was the better pick. Biden, the guy who couldn't work his way in or out of a bicycle. The guy who spent 70%, if not more, of his whole presidency on the beach. That dumbass. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, anybody who believes this definitely needs some better education. But this takes us to our education department, folks. Project Veritas Undercover once again. Listen to this. Oh, I guess if I had the right video.
If they actually knew, Congress actually knew that we don't have that.
For citizenship status?
There would be a lot of Why? Because we would be like positioned as like being a sanctuary. You know, they have like sanctuary cities. We would be like a sanctuary program where we're spending federal dollars on
illegal immigrants. And ladies and gentlemen, they're doing this on purpose. He even talks about in this interview how they work to get that taken out of bills where they don't have to ask about citizenship status. This is another way they're bleeding our education system dry. You know that same education system that Crockett said doesn't work? That said makes Americans stupid because they voted for Trump? That education system? Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot be happier that Linda McMahon is going to shut down the Department of Education. Because a lot of this garbage is going to go bye-bye. I hope. And now with this being uncovered, we can guarantee there will be big, big changes coming. If there's one thing we know about this administration, when stuff like this comes out, oh yeah. And he said that a lot of the employees are starting to conversate about stuff outside of the main servers because DOGE is inside the Department of Education. Everybody's scared to use their computers because they have key trackers on the computers. They can see everything they type. So now people are switching over to an app called Signal, trying to hide conversations. Oh, this is not going to end good for these people, ladies and gentlemen. This was from Travis Combs, branch chief of the Department of Education, who, number one, probably won't have a job tomorrow. Number two, ain't none of them going to have a job long because Trump's shutting it down. I was going to play this way too long. We're already over time. One last story, ladies and gentlemen, and this is a great story to end the night on. This guy, Leland Dudek, did his best to help DOGE. Dudek explained what took place in a since-deleted LinkedIn post when DOGE came into his office. At 4:30 p.m., my boss called me to tell me I had been placed on administrative leave pending an investigation. They wanted to fire me for cooperating with DOGE. He said, I confess, I helped DOGE understand the Social Security Administration. I mailed myself publicly accessible documents. That's important. Publicly accessible documents, not top secret stuff. And explained them to DOGE. I confess, I moved contractor money around to add data science resources to the anti-fraud team. He says, I confess, I asked where the fat was and is in our contracts so we can make the right tough choices. He goes on to say, I confess, I bullied agency executives, shared executive contact information, and circumvented the chain of command to connect DOGE with the people who get stuff done. He then offered his explanation for cooperating with what has become the enemy of entrenched power. He said, everything I have ever done is in service to our country, our beneficiaries, and our agency. Well, like was just mentioned, he was called into an office and told he was going to be fired. Well, President Trump caught word of this and heard what had went on. And turns out he made the current acting director step down and headed the acting director role to Mr. Dudek. I think this is amazing. The guy did what was right, and even though he was punished for it, in the end, he come out a winner. He will hold the role until a new person has been identified or okayed through Congress as the head of the department. So, huge win, ladies and gentlemen. Huge, huge win. Kind of a roller coaster show tonight, folks. I know it has been. The story about the veteran needs to be cut out, made into short videos, and sent across the internet, folks. We need to get this to our representatives. We need to get this information up the chain. We've got to fix our medical system because it is working against us right now. We thought it was ridiculous when they said the unvaxxed would not be helped. Well, that's what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. They stood by their threat. The unvaxxed are being turned away from having service because we believe the truth, because we know that this was nothing more than an experiment. We know that our health is better off not doing it, and we have a right to make that decision in this country. Does a hospital have a right to refuse medical service to somebody? I guess that's the question on the table, ladies and gentlemen, tonight. And I'm going to end it there because I will go straight off again. With that said, I am Jerry Hicks. This is the Jerry Hicks Show. And until tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen, stay awake, but dare to dream. Stand strong, Patriots. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Good night, everybody. The Jerry Hicks Show is part of the Censored Freedom Network. Censored Freedom on X. Please visit BitChute, Rumble, YouTube, TikTok, or X, and look up the Jerry Hicks Show or the Censored Freedom Network. Stand strong, Patriots.